why I made the decision to bring my fiance from Vietnam to the United States.
What?
Hello everyone, my name is Angelo and I am a passport brother who brought his fiance from Vietnam to the United States until she gets her permanent residency or her green card, and then we will prepare and moving back to Southeast Asia. I talk about all things related to the passport brothers, and that includes finances, immigration, travel, and retirement. And you can find lots of information on my blog or here on YouTube. So today what I wanted to briefly talk about is a little bit of story time. I want to talk about why I made the decision to bring my fiance from Vietnam to the United States. A lot of passport brothers like myself and a lot of people in general advise against this idea of bringing your girlfriend and your fiance to the United States. And with good cause, good reason, because the sisterhood has made it perfectly clear what their intentions are. They will definitely go out to poison the minds of all the women who come to the United States from other countries and who readily accept more traditional roles in the house and in the relationships. More often than not, these women have rejected the current phases of feminism and they want nothing to do with it. The sisterhood is a collective mind, and if you don't believe things like them, they will come down on you. So all that being said, I had two choices. I can continue, or I could start the process, the K1 visa process, to bring her to the United States, and we can work on things here and then prepare ourselves for the next phase of our life together, which would be taking place back in Southeast Asia. Obviously, I'm aware of all of the pitfalls and all of the horror stories and all of the cautionary tales. But to be frank and to be honest, I got tired of being alone. I was divorced for 5 years before I met my current wife, Nghīa. During those 5 years, there were a lot of things going on. I was trying to focus on spending time with my children and managing them, and I was trying to keep things peaceful and steady for them. At the time, we split the week in half. So the days that I didn't have them, I went out on dates and I brought women home, and I was not ready for it. I'm glad I wasn't ready for it, because if I was, I probably would have settled for one of the people that I was dating. But for sure, the issue with dating is similar to what you guys are experiencing right now in the dating world. It was crazy. The people that I met were crazy. And they put on these good fronts at first, but after a while, the red flags started popping up. And then I had really just decided I am just going to be alone. And I had resigned myself to living my life as a retired man, not having a wife and not having a spouse. I was sure I was going to be alone, and I had made up my mind and I was prepared for it. Then I met a young lady where I worked. And she was Vietnamese, and we dated for a year, and that relationship opened my eyes to another side of this whole relationship thing. That it showed me that my perspective was limited, and that there was this other big, beautiful, feminine world out there that was more enticing. But after that relationship was over, I sat back and I thought, and I said, hey, you know what? I think I do want to have a relationship. I think I do want to get married again. I think I do prefer to have, a partner in the later years of my life, just to get out there and experience things with. I started looking, sort of actively looking. One thing led to another, and Nghīa and I connected. We were just going to do the long distance thing. And as we got more and more infatuated with each other, and I went out there for a visit and I had a great time, I decided that, hey, let's try to make this thing real. So obviously we had to deal with the idea of her staying in Vietnam and me staying in the United States and us just seeing each other a few times a year. That was a real thing that we had to deal with, because she had a good career. She had a plan. Her plan was to get her certification in English, use that to transfer locations to someplace in Europe where obviously they conduct business in English. So she had a plan, she had a goal. So the idea of us being apart, it was real. It was real stuff. But as time went along, and we found ourselves contemplating, trying to plan for this long distance thing, what we found was that life got in the way. And the gap in time was increasing. And then we had to figure out, was this waiting long distance thing, with 2 maybe 3 visits a year, something that we actually wanted to do? And it wasn't. And so we started the K1 visa process to bring her to the United States. Now, I know that a lot of people, a lot of guys will read this and they'll say, "Oh man, why did you do that? You're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy." And you're right. It's a crazy move, but you have to look at your foundation and you have to look at what your process is to combat that stuff. It's like, what's your antidote to all this poison that's coming out there? Well, all this vitriol that the sisterhood is ready to inject into your wife or your fiance. What we do, what Nghīa and I do, is just we talk about all of that stuff. We regularly have conversations because she goes to class, and she goes to class with a lot of folks who've been in the States longer than she has. And so the Americanization of them has already started, but she is able to look at where their life is and what they have and what they don't have, and then say, okay, I don't want to go in that direction. And then we come home, she comes home, and we talk about those things. So we have these long conversations, and they're usually very lighthearted. And so that's our process of dealing with the poison. We have our own antidote, and our antidote is communication. It's open communication between the two of us, that we share everything. We embrace our routine, and we use that as a force field around us to keep all of those poisonous sisterhood memes from penetrating our life, so that we could have a stable existence. And it's working really well right now. And so the alternative was to have some sort of long distance relationship that we see each other once every 6 months at the earliest. And how can you prevent third parties or outside influences from infecting your relationship if you're only seeing that person for 2 weeks at a time, every 6 to 9 months at a time? We wake up together, we go to bed together, we watch TV together, we cook together, we eat together, we laugh together, we go out together, we do all of these things together. So we are constantly joined forces, arm in arm, fighting all of these knuckleheads out here who are trying to inject their feminist ideology into my wife. And that's a lot easier to do than if I didn't see her for 9 months. I think this makes much more sense than trying to work it out in a long distance relationship. That's all I wanted to say about why I brought my fiance to the United States as opposed to having a long distance relationship with her in Vietnam. And now we're married, and we actually have our green card interview scheduled later this month. If you like what you heard or somehow inspired you, or you can use my story to help a friend, please leave a like and a comment and subscribe. I'm going to be trying to make a lot more videos, a lot more often, to share my journey with you, so that if you are a passport brother just like me, who wants to bring his wife, fiance, spouse to the United States temporarily, you'll know exactly what to do. Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.